Chicago comes in 6 games back, and we're not even at the All-Star break. So here we go again. It's another matchup between two old rivals and two of the best teams in Major League Baseball. Sammy Sosa and the Chicago Cubs. They come to St. Louis riding a 3-game losing streak. But on the hill tonight, future Hall of Famer Greg Maddux. There have been some wild finishes to these games in 2004. Another chapter starts tonight again. Cardinals, Cubs on Fox Sports Net. Indeed, we started again. Game 1 of a 3-game set. It's always fun for the fans, whether it be at Wrigley Field or tonight at a sold-out standing room only Busch Stadium. Cardinals and Cubs, game 1 of this 3-game series. With Al Rabowski, Dan McLaughlin with you. Glad you could join us here on your home of the Cardinals. And Al, when you look at these two teams, here we are before the All-Star break. They're going to play so many. It seems like we're playing them every weekend, but here we have 14 games already in the books, and these two teams 7 up and 7 down.
7 up, 7 down, but when you look at the numbers, it's hard to believe the Cubs aren't dominating. They've hit better, they've scored more runs, 4 home runs, they pitched better, but in the wins, they're 7 and 7, and the Cardinals have a commanding 6-game lead. Go figure.
Oh, well, yeah, you're right. Go figure with that. Let's figure out how to beat this guy. Greg Maddux is on the mound tonight, and he will go against Jason Marquis. Coming up next, we visit with one of the All-Star representatives of the St. Louis Cardinals, whether it be with his bat, his glove, hey, even sacrificing. He's done it all this year. Scott Rowland, we'll sit down with him when we come back on. Rowland, well hit, opposite field. That could be trouble.
How about being voted the top vote getter in the National League? I mean, I know you're a guy that doesn't like all the praise and stuff, but the fans are, in their way, saying, this is the guy we want to see the most. What does that mean to you?
Well, I mean, that means quite a bit. I mean, that's a huge honor. It's a huge honor to be voted on the team anyway. I don't think that one's kind of landed yet, but I'll think about kick that one around a little bit, and you know, my wife and I are sitting down to eat and kind of look at her and go, what happened here? What's going on here? This isn't right. I mean, this isn't why we signed up. But it's pretty cool. It's another one of those moments. I don't know what to say.
Ground ball left side. Rowland, what a play. Shuffles. He got him. Oh my goodness, what a play.
When people say that you are the greatest defensive third baseman in the history of baseball, and people say that all the time, and you hear that, what comes to your mind when people say that?
I think these are very nice people.
Lee, Rowland's got it.
To think that someone, you know, would praise you for what you're doing is nice, but to maybe over-sensationalize or something, you know, I don't view things in that way. So I guess, I don't know if it's embarrassing is the word, but just kind of smile and put your head down, I guess.
Now batting for St. Louis, number 27, third baseman Scott Rowland.
Does it frustrate you to know that people in Philadelphia think, oh man, he sold out, he didn't want to stay here? Does that get frustrating for you at all at the time when it happened, or even now when you look back?
Yeah, I guess the regret, I guess everything didn't come out, and that would be the regret, that I wish that maybe things would have, that maybe from my end, handled a little differently, and maybe things would have smoothed over a little bit, because, you know, I don't have any ill feeling towards the people of Philadelphia or towards the city of Philadelphia. You know, I really enjoyed playing there when I was there, and kind of the business and political aspect of the whole thing kind of caught up right there at the end, which, you know, really was no more than that itself. It wasn't about people.
Bring off again, Dusty Baker and Tony La Russa now occupying jobs in the Midwest. Chicago and St. Louis, game 1 of this 3-game series, and here we go with Jason Marquis on the mound. And the first pitch a little upstairs to Mark Grudzalani. Jason Marquis coming off a win last time out. The game that was postponed for a little while, just about an hour or so because of rain against Seattle, but then pitched a whale of a ball game. Left side, there's Scott Rowland. Gold Glover. Wide throw, good play by Pujols.
They stay on the bag. A look at Marquis' numbers. Out number 1 is in the books. Then this is his 17th start of the season. Al?
Won 8 games. 7 of his last 9 starts have been victories, including 5 straight to extend a career high. Ground ball pitcher and a good start getting Scott Rowland some action early. See Scott Rowland's throw almost pulls Pujols off the bag, but he does a good stretch holding that toe on.
Former Met, former Tampa Bay Devil Ray. Ray Ordonez is the hitter, just hitting 146. I don't know about you. I was a little surprised to see him in the 2nd spot in the order.
Yeah, and some of the media from Chicago kind of making a joke and said that Ordonez is in the 2nd spot because Dusty thinks it's Maglio.
Wrong Ordonez.
Wrong Ordonez. This is the non-hitting one. He didn't make that trade.
That's right. 2 balls and a strike on Ray Ordonez.
But you know what? Ray has had some big games against the Cardinals in the past, and you never take him lightly, and defensively he can be a difference maker.
Ground ball. Renteria. 2 outs. Good start here for Marquis. A look at Dusty's lineup. The Chicago Cubs, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, as Sammy will dig in. Mark Grudzielanek, Ray Ordonez, Sammy Sosa here in the first, then Alou, Patterson, and Derek Lee. Ramon Martinez, Paul Bacco, and Greg Maddux. Future Hall of Famer closing in on 300 wins. And here's Sammy.
Sammy's had his problems since returning to the disabled list, and really this entire offense with Ramirez out has struggled, particularly the 3 games in Milwaukee.
They were swept by the Brewers after they swept their crosstown rivals, the White Sox. Look at the numbers for Sammy Sosa here at Busch. 77 games and just a .215 average. Ground ball, base hit, pass rolling. Base hit into left, first base runner on the night, and it brings in Alou. The defense behind Marquis is brought to you by Auto Tire. Mabry, Edmonds, and Sanders in the outfield. Roland, Renteria, Womack, and Pujols on the infield, and Yadier Molina is behind the plate. Molina has been, for the most part, the last couple of weeks, the primary catcher, Al, for Jason Marquis. Those 2 have worked very well together.
And you just want to see that continue. He's putting down the good fingers. 3 consecutive ground balls, 2 of them finding leather. Good defensive lever by the Cardinals.
2 outs. Here's Moises Alou in the first pitch, low and away. Another solid year for Alou with 19 home runs, 49 RBIs. Average at .279 with play starting tonight.
And just 5 for his last 25 with 9 walks. That covers his last 9 games.
Boy, who would have thought on July 9th that Chicago would be the team 6 games out and Houston 9.5 games back. And the Cardinals owning the best record in the National League with a record of 52-32. Not many people thought that.
No, not at all. And I'm sure Tony liked his ball club, but probably would honestly say he didn't envision the standings being this way. He thought that he'd be in contention with the Cubs. But he'll also tell you there's a lot of game left, and you've got to keep on pushing.
Cardinals a couple of years ago made that unbelievable push in the second half and then wound up winning the division and getting into postseason play. So certainly it can be done, and it's been done numerous times. But Tony has gotten the best out of his team this year. He really has. A ball and 2 strikes on Moises Alou. There were some key players last year, Al, that went to him and said, we'd like you to loosen up the reins a little bit. As Alou pops it up. Shallow left center field. It's going to be Renteria. He's got it. We'll talk about Tony loosening those reins when we come back. To watch Greg Maddux even when he's on the opposing team, whether it be in Atlanta or back with Chicago. His numbers brought to you by Advance Auto Parts, making his 18th start on the year. And a record of just 1 game above the 500 mark, Al.
Well, you talk about him. It's well above 500 in his career. He needs only 4 wins to reach 300. A career record of 296 and 169 with an ERA of 2.92.
Here's a look at Tony La Russa's lineup. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Womack, Renteria, Pujols here in the first, followed by Roland, Edmonds, Mabry, Sanders, Molina, and Jason Marquis. The Southwest Airlines starting lineup. Tony Womack batting .312. He finished up last season with the Chicago Cubbies. Quickly to the Cubs defense we go. Brought to you by Auto Tire. Martinez is playing third base with Ramirez out, so Alou, Patterson, Sosa in the outfield. Martinez, Ordonez, Grudzelanic, Lee on the infield, and Paul Bacco is behind the plate. Al, I wanted to get your thoughts on this, though. I got the impression that Tony La Russa is about as relaxed as we have seen him. Now, 20 games above 500 will do that. That'll help you out. But a couple key players last year at the end of the season said, loosen up a little bit with us. We can play this game. We know you're the boss. And he has done that this year. The players have responded. Agreed?
Yeah, I do. But I also have to remember is this is pretty much a hand-picked Tony La Russa Walt Jocketty ball club. And they respect him and his leadership. So, you know, they said, you know, hey, we're still going to do whatever you say in extension. But you know, we know how to play. We know how you want us to play. And if we need to be pulled back or we need to be reined in, you know, we understand. But you do have a veteran team here, and they have enjoyed playing for him.
Womack ahead in the count, 2 balls and a strike. Little weak ground ball to the second baseman, Mark Grudzelanic. High throw, but Derek Lee over there, he's going to save some errors over there at first base. Gold Glover last year with the Florida Marlins, and that's out number 1.
Derek Lee, a Gold Glover back there, and he will save his infield some errant throws. These Cardinal hitters are going to try and get Greg Maddux to elevate the ball, try to keep him from getting them to pound the ball in the dirt like Womack just did. And part of the problem is if you hit it right back at him, he's another fielder and a Gold Glover.
Here's Renteria. First pitch, a ball. Greg Maddux, after he warmed up, Al, he said, you know what? They're asking for a new baseball. The reason why, Tony La Russa said, switch those balls out. So the mind games have begun. Anyway, you try to get a Greg Maddux, right?
Yeah, we had Dusty Baker on the radio show today, and he heard that one of the callers talking about Albert Pujols has a tendency to come off the first base bag very quickly, and Dusty goes, hey, I'm just taking notes. Anything I can get.
Any edge, right?
Know, absolutely. These are 2 of the best prepared guys. They do it in a little different fashion, but anything that they observe or they can learn and pick up from other people, they're going to see if they can incorporate it into their game plan.
Pujols is on deck. Count of 1 ball, 2 strikes on Edgar Renteria. With 1 out, nobody on in the Cardinals half of the first. Edgar gets a piece to stay alive. Off to the All-Star game, which will be on Fox next week. The career numbers, 19th season for Greg Maddux.
It's first pitcher in Major League history to have won 15 or more games in 16 consecutive seasons.
Well hit, deep left field. On the move, Alou. 1-0 Cardinals. The All-Star shortstop Renteria puts the Birds on top.
We probably don't even need audio today, do we? We could just let the crowd carry this scene, because there's going to be a ton of emotion going. That ball elevated. Remember we talked, they try to get the ball up in the zone. Very hittable there, and that was hit out. 40th RBI, 6th home run for Renteria. His 13th hit and 40 at bats against Greg Maddux.
Boy, is he seeing the ball well or what? Here's Albert Pujols, 57 RBIs on the year. 2-0. Edgar is hot right before the All-Star break.
You know, he hits his home runs off of lefties unless they're right-handed Cubs pitchers. His 2 home runs off of right-handers are off of Mr. Maddux and Mr. Pryor.
One off of Pryor was a grand slam at Wrigley Field earlier this season.
The other 4 against left-handers.
2-1 pitch, hit to second. Taken there by Grudzelanic. 2 down. But it brings in Scott Rowland. Our thanks to Scott Rowland for appearing on our pregame show. And congratulations to him, leading vote getter in the National League.
They're working on a piece for Fox Sports National.
Right, Fox Sports Net across America. Tony La Russa appeared earlier this year with his foundation, and in our piece we talk about Scott's foundation as well, helping out children across the Midwest. As Scotty hits this one into deep right center field, that'll stay in the ballpark. Patterson is there in front of the track, but Edgar Renteria has put the Cardinals on top with his 6th home run and his 40th RBI. Cubs Cardinals 1971. Fred Pautek hits for the cycle. The 5-4 Royal shortstop's effort helps defeat the Twins 6-3. This day in baseball history brought to you by Schnucks. We move to the 2nd. Corey Patterson, Derek Lee, and Ramon Martinez for Chicago.
Play with Freddie Pautek.
Was he 5'4"?
He claims he was.
That's what it's listed as.
Yeah, and that's what he listed it every year. I thought he was a little bit taller.
Here's Corey Patterson. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The White Sox had a little shortstop. At the same time, he was not as good a player as Freddie. Freddie was very good. And they kind of competed to see who the shortest guy in the game was. Champa or something like that.
Two and 1 the count on Patterson. That just missed on the inside corner. If you're listening to the radio around St. Louis today, you may have heard trade rumors with the Philadelphia Phillies, and Tony La Russa addressed that before the game tonight. As Patterson lines to Albert Pujols. Good catch by Albert. He was ahead in the count, 3 balls and a strike, and turned on that high delivery, but Pujols had him placed perfectly.
I don't know what Tony said about that, but when I read those comments in the USA Today, I thought they were ridiculous.
And that's what Tony said.
Talking with Rick Hummel, he called it irresponsible journalism. And it came from a Pittsburgh or a Philadelphia writer.
Yep.
Buck County Courier or something.
Tony was saying there must have been a rain delay because they needed something to write about. But he said nothing to that rumor, and Millwood was mentioned, Polanco and Klein and Morris on the Cardinals end. He said
sense.
No chance.
How did Tony manage without Klein?
They like to communicate.
Yeah.
In many ways.
I mean, there was a time without telephones down there that you had to use hand signals.
Right. 1 ball, 1 strike on Lee. Drilled into left field. This game is tied. Lee unloads on that pitch. And it's a 1-1 game. Derek Lee, his 12th home run.
Now, when the Cubs personnel were telling us how they had been struggling and included Derek Lee in that category, I didn't believe it. Neither did Jason Marquis. That is now, and it's a hanging breaking ball right up there saying hit me. But Derek Lee has hit better than .440, and that is his 4th home run off of Jason Marquis. So we'll try to change that pitching pattern, but it's not good to throw hanging breaking balls to anybody.
This is Ramon Martinez hitting .258. That's a strike. Nothing in 2 the count.
Now let's go back to the swing as you see it out on the sweet part of the bat, right out there, the meat of the bat, and then to get that full extension, you follow through, the wrist come through and pop. But that was just not a very good pitch by Jason. He'd be the first one to tell you. 13th home run allowed by Marquis.
1-2 pitch, ground ball right side, base hit. Back-to-back hits for the Cubbies, 3 in this game, and it brings in Baco. Much like Molina has turned into the catcher as of late for Marquee, Bacco is that for Greg Maddux.
Well, Bacco, who catches Maddux, did that in Atlanta, now does it with the Cubs. Sometimes it works against you because Bacco is 1 for 6, where Michael Barrett, their everyday catcher or normal catcher, has hit Jason Marquee very well.
Curveball in there for a strike. Bacco hitting just 194.
Of course, Jason had contained Martinez prior to this reaching base here on the single. He was 1 for 10.
Interesting article in today's Post-Dispatch on Jason Marquee.
And his no-hitter, the Little League World Series.
Right, the summer of '91, starring for the South Shore Little Leaguers in Staten Island, New York, and they reached Williamsport, Pennsylvania. You can throw a no-hitter, but you can't ever live up to what Lloyd McClendon did.
Right, 6 swings.
Right, 6 home runs.
6 home runs, and then he was a pretty good pitcher in the series too.
Pop foul out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It is packed tonight here at Busch Stadium.
Standing room only tonight. How about tomorrow? They have only 200 standing room tickets remaining. There are 2,000 tickets, standing room tickets remaining for Sunday night's game. So we'll be over 50,000 tonight. Maybe over,
Ball gets away from Molina. Moving up on the play, Martinez to second base. Wild pitch.
Wild pitch, but one of those pitches that we see Mike Matheny blocked so well. That one, he gets down in the patented technique, but it came up on him and got off to the side. That's why you really have to kind of come over the top and engulf that ball, so if it comes up, it bounces off your check protector and bounces right at your feet.
Two pitch. He got him on the outside corner. Strikeout for Marquee, number 1 tonight. Good pitch there, Al, on the outside corner.
Backdoor breaking ball. Hitter sees that it's outside, gives up on it, and then it breaks to the corner. And Molina did a nice job to frame it for our home plate umpire, Darrell Cousins.
This is Greg Maddux. Strike 1. A little bit outside. These two pitchers, Marquee and Maddux, tonight hooking up for the 3rd time already this season. Remember the first time, a couple of stolen bases for each.
Yeah, remember they put on a little show, the professor and student. Maddux stole the base. Jason came back and did the same.
I've talked to Jason about his time in Atlanta. He said while he didn't feel comfortable with certain aspects of it, one guy that really made him feel comfortable was Greg Maddux. He said at all times, never felt out of place with him.
Greg is an unbelievable source of knowledge. And you can ask him, and I'm sure he'd share it with you, but you can just watch him and learn just as much.
1-2. Slow roller. Rolling. On the move. Makes the play. Cubs have stranded 2, but they get on the board. Derek Lee with his 12th home run and his 48th RBI. Ties it up. Renteria went deep. Now Lee. 1-1 game. Back at Busch, bottom of the 2nd. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin with you on your home of Cardinals baseball, Fox Sports Net. It'll be Jim Edmonds, John Mabry, and Reggie Sanders coming up for the Cardinals. 1-1 ball game, a pair of home runs. Renteria in the bottom of the 1st, Derek Lee in the top of the 2nd. I want to remind you that tomorrow's game will be on Big Fox. Joe Buck and Tim McCarver will have that call. Jeff Suppan, Matt Clement tomorrow. 12:20 will be the first pitch here from Busch Stadium. Up the middle for a base hit off the bat of Edmonds. His average is on the climb.
Would it shock you if I said he was around, well, over 315 at Busch Stadium this year?
It would.
With 12 home runs and 29 RBIs.
You know, the thing is that last year, that first half for Edmonds, he had 28 home runs. Then he hurt his shoulder. Really wasn't the same player in the second half. But Tony La Russa was telling me the other day, he said the guy that doesn't get enough credit in this lineup is the guy standing at first base, and that's Jim Edmonds. He said when he's out of the lineup, we just don't mesh, we don't click as well. There goes Edmonds trying to steal a base. Out. Front stealing. Baco guns down Edmonds. To the naked eye, it almost looked like he got to the outside portion of the bag and maybe was safe.
Well, it kind of looks as if he gets tagged in the rear end, but his legs sliding feet first are extended. Very close play, and the legs go in there, and it sure looked like he might have been safe, but you can't argue with Jerry Meals' location. And not much of a protest by Jim.
This is John Mabry. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mabry in his career has had pretty decent numbers against Greg Maddux, and that's one of the reasons that you see him playing left field tonight.
353, 12 for 34 with a home run.
Roger Cedeno, I guess, Al, will never be suspended. It will never happen.
I'll tell you one thing. I want him to handle all my appeals.
Yeah. Apparently there's
more
been
than 10 days ago.
Apparently there's been some people that are out of the country up in New York. So normally they have those in New York, or at least have a conference call.
He's already had the appeal.
But those people already are out, though. They've already had the appeal. But what I'm saying is now, instead of making that decision right away, they've sat on it. They're out of the country now. So apparently it's going to be after the All-Star break. Are you following me?
Yeah, I'm following you.
I know it doesn't make any sense. 2-2, the count on Mabry.
Maddux throwing his changeup right there, and this is really what separates him. How he can throw that ball, the bottom falls out, it changes speed, looks just like his fastball. Other things is his movement and his ability to throw a cutter in on the left-handed batter and then have one that fades away that they give up on and get the strike. Watch this one here.
Pulled foul.
That one, Greg would say he's lucky because he never wants to throw a ball up there.
Change up in his wheelhouse. 2-2 on Mabry with Reggie Sanders on deck. A lot of people have talked about the chemistry with this team, the St. Louis Cardinals. And even though we're on it day in and day out, you still don't know what happens inside that clubhouse. We're not privy to that, but in talking with the players, they feel that this is a tight-knit group. And when we show them on Fox Sports Net in particular, as Mabry flies to center, the starting rotation, it seems like those guys are always hanging around, talking to each other, talking about baseball, and it does seem to be a very tight-knit group.
You've been around long enough, Danny. You can tell these guys that, you know, they care about each other. They're pulling for each other, and you know, a lot of people say, yeah, you need an everyday left fielder, but by not having that everyday left fielder and having a guy like Reggie that's 36 years of age, can't play every day, you're getting the bench players are getting ample at bats to keep them sharp. We have a set lineup, though, that doesn't happen.
The one thing that would concern me is defensively is how your team is going to be in the second half of the season. And guys will tell you, like a Marlon Anderson, hey, we're not really accustomed to playing out there in left field, or a Hector Luna, so you may lose a little bit defensively. But like you said, you keep guys sharp on that bench.
Well, let me ask you this. They played a half a season out there now. It's cost a couple games here and there, but they're a lot better now than they were game one. So whoever you plug out in the outfield, I mean, those two guys know how to play the outfield. Ray's a little hampered with a leg problem.
Up the middle. Maddox couldn't come up with it. A 2-out hit for Sanders.
Must be getting old.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10 he makes that play, doesn't he?
13 Gold Gloves for Greg Maddux, and he truly is a 5th infielder once he releases the ball. And more times than not, he will make this play. Right back at him, and look at, he even looks down his glove like, what happened? He showed his poker hand. He's got to be a great poker player.
Lives in Vegas.
Yep. Well, that's not the only reason.
Here's Molina. Greg has talked about being an Army brat, guy that bounced around and then finally settled because his dad was in the Army, finally settled with his brother out there in Las Vegas. His brother also pitched in the major leagues.
Got a nice note from Eileen Wallace from Glen Carbon, Illinois, and her son, as we want to welcome him back to the United States. Sergeant Jason Hessler of the U.S. Marine Corps said how proud they are of him, and so are we, for his service in Iraq and Afghanistan.
There goes Sanders on his way to second base as the ball gets away. Stolen base for Reggie. We have not seen that for quite some time, it seems like, with Reggie Sanders.
13th steal, and he's closing in on the league leaders and trailing only Tony Womack's 14. But you're right, it's been quite a while. He got off to a good start. Baco, and it appears now that they're 1 for 1 in stolen base attempt. He was out until he kicked the ball out of Grizzlonic's hands.
Now that gives you a little indication of the game plan tonight with
absolutely
Edmonds running and now Reggie Sanders.
Greg Maddux is not, remember, Marquis stole the base off of Maddux, so not really quick to the plate. In this combination, they at least think they can steal.
2-0 pitch to Molina. This is outside. First base is open, but pitching to Marquis is not an easy out. He's hitting 6 straight.
How about the way they defense? Look at the, you can see with the second base the right side, but Ordonia is a shortstop, almost shadowing Sanders. He pulled back a little bit. He's right behind him. Plenty of room on the hole on the left side for Molina. Playing him around to the right side in the outfield. There you see where the shortstop is. He's way out here, and look at all this hitting room this one. That's that pitch that he gets so much mileage out of on that side of the plate. If a left-hander, they give up on it, but you see Baco set up, it tails back to the corner. But that is the strike zone that they try to eradicate. That pitch there, and because he's a veteran, he's earned it more than anybody else.
Goes right back to it and strikes him out. That's pitching. Went right back to him. He's going to give him that portion of the plate. Greg Maddux will use that all night long. 1-1. We head to the third.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
Thursday, the Cardinals return to the field. We head to Cincinnati. We'll take on Ken Griffey Jr. and the Cincinnati Reds. Coverage begins at 5:30. Only here on FSN, Fox Sports Net, 5:30 Thursday night, the Cards and the Reds. Aramis Ramirez looking on. He will not play tonight. In question is whether or not he will play this weekend now with a sore groin.
Yeah, they really miss his bat, but I think he's getting closer and possibly could be back in there, and as soon as he's able to, he will.
Really come into his own here in Chicago with the Cubbies. Had a monster year with Pittsburgh a few seasons ago with 34 home runs, did Ramirez, but next year he came in about 30 pounds overweight. Was injured in a brawl with Ben Sheets. Never was the same player, but played very well the end of last season and has played well this year for Chicago. Line drive and a base hit, and the leadoff man is on. That's Frudzolanic.
Frudzolanic spent a lot of time on the disabled list from spring training on with a Achilles problem, and kind of inside out stroker, hits a lot of doubles, not a lot of speed, and I don't think he's tempted to steal yet.
See what Ordonez wants to do here. A 1-1 game in the third. Ordonez hitting well under 200 and moved up tonight in the second spot in the order for Dusty Baker. Grounded to short his first time up. Rolen is even with the bag at third base. Pujols holds it first.
Nobody out here. This light hitting middle infielder. You think they put something on, try to advance the runner. Didn't show any inkling of sacrificing the first pitch. Did look down to Wendell Kim and might have changed.
Fastball and a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ordonez came up from AAA Iowa back on May 28th. Down there he was hitting just 250. He's had a lot of experience. Former Gold Glover. Been in the majors since '96. Came up with the Mets. Stayed with them until 2002. Part of last season with Tampa Bay. And now with the Chicago Cubs. 1-1 pitch. 2-1. '87 degrees our game time temperature. Packed house here at Busch Stadium. 50,000 plus.
Molina's thrown out 3 of 6 would-be runners and down at AAA. Threw out 61%. I'd keep that runner close and see if they've got something going, but maybe because of Grizzlonic and that Achilles problem, they don't want to push him too hard.
Dusty was saying that he's had to spot Grudzielanek here and there because of that Achilles problem. Similar to what Nomar Garciaparra has been going through with the Boston Red Sox. Swing and a miss and a throw down to second. What a cannon from Molina.
I think our thrower is better than theirs. Well, it wasn't that bad of a pitch. He tried to protect the runner, but there's a strike down there, and Womack just waiting and waiting for the slide in the tag.
Molina has been impressive since he came up. Count is full now with Ordonez with Sammy Sosa on deck. Mike Matheny was helping Yadier Molina in the tape room prior to the game today. Little chopper up the middle. Edgar's there. Tough throw. He makes the play.
Well, he wasn't hit hard, so it really was a terrific play by Edgar, and then throwing on the run off balance. Then you get a nice stretch at the other end from Pujols, and digging it out and holding on. Stretching out there. Off balance throw with something on it. That's your defense picking you up. Molina and then Renteria and Pujols.
Sammy singled left side his first time up.
Sammy's getting a reaction from the crowd tonight, isn't he?
And some boos.
And a lot of cheers.
Captain of the Cubs, a 1-0 pitch. Outside 2-0. Sosa back in the All-Star game. Fans voted him in, of course. He will start his 5th All-Star start, his 7th appearance overall. That'll be on Tuesday night, only on Fox. Nowhere close, 3-0.
At least that Cub fans got a Rawlings shirt on. Something redeeming about it. All right.
Three and 1. Just missing low and away to Sosa. First walk handed out by Marquis, and it brings in Moises Alou. SBC presents men's and women's cap night here at Busch Stadium. The first 12,000 men and women 16 and over with a paid admission receive a Cardinals cap, navy blue for the men, powder blue for the women. For tickets or more information, call 421-3060 or log on to stlcardinals.com. Cap night coming up. Swing and a miss by Moises Alou. 1908, Al.
So last year, the Cubbies were world champions. Long dry spell, but you know what? Even though they trail by 6 games, they are a very talented group. And very much in the wild card race.
We're talking about the reports today with the Philadelphia Phillies and the Cardinals. Erroneous reports. Another one had Carlos Beltran along with Roger Clemens being on the block for the Houston Astros, but quickly their front office came out and said that's not true. And the Yankees looking for pitching, Boston looking for pitching. These were two of the teams that a report said that Clemens would look towards. This is pulled foul.
Oh, could you imagine Clemens ended up in Boston?
I'll give you a better scenario. Game 7 championship series with Randy Johnson on the mound for New York and Clemens for Boston.
Yeah.
Apparently Randy Johnson has come out and said he will waive his no trade clause.
I mean, but all indications they keep on saying they want to keep him for next year.
Right. On 0-2, breaks his bat and pulls it just foul.
His eyes lit up. Moises, when he saw that hanging breaking ball. I do believe that Beltran will be traded if they continue to flounder where the Houston is. Hey, see, look at that grip. And you could see how that ball just didn't look like he had it back into the grip hard enough, and how it kind of slipped out and didn't have good command of it. It kind of stayed up in the zone.
The thing that doesn't make any sense to me is the fact that Houston is only 3.5 games back in the wild card. So you've got a shot with the wild card. If you sell off Beltran and a few others, you're not going to win it. As Alou strikes out. 2 strikeouts from Marquis tonight. Inning started with a single by Grudzelanic, erased by Molina, trying to steal a bag. Then the ground out, good play from Renteria at short, and a strikeout of Moises Alou. Middle of the third, 1-1. Between innings with the Tony La Russa and the home plate umpire Darryl Cousins. And you wonder, Al, if Tony is questioning that strike zone a little bit, maybe with the strikeout of Molina, what we saw there.
You don't wonder that. You know that's exactly what he's saying, and you know that was going on the entire half inning. I don't think Greg Maddux was kind of laughing at it. It's not the first time a manager's ever questioned the strike zone or the ability, and I mean this, the ability of Greg Maddux to expand the strike zone. Dusty Baker kind of had a big smile on his face. Darryl Cousins listened to what Tony had to say, and we'll see if the strike zone changes.
This is Marquis, 1 pitch, 1 out. Dusty Baker, as all that was going on with Larry Rothschild as pitching coach, they're getting a chuckle. Now we saw Greg, let me ask you this, a former pitcher, and I mean this sincerely, Greg Maddux is out there laughing a little bit about it, but meanwhile he has thrown his warm-up tosses. You know he wants to get on the mound and get things going. Does it upset you from a pitcher's perspective, or are you just amused by it?
Nothing upsets him. I mean, Greg Maddux is in command and control every second of a game. I used to would advise a young pitcher, if you want to see how to attack hitters, all you do is just watch the tape of Greg Maddux and how he attacks Cardinal weaknesses.
2 strikes on Tony Womack.
He doesn't throw, he doesn't walk anybody. He's one of the stingiest pitchers in the game. He just throws all of his pitches both sides of the plate, and he spots his ball so well he gets those borderline calls.
1-2 is the count. Maddux just 4 away from 300 coming into play tonight, and only a game over 500 this season at 7-6. Renteria is on deck. The 1-2 pitch to Tony Womack in the dirt. Cardinals starting play tonight with a record of 52-32, 20 games above 500. Best record in the National League, second only to the Yankees. Dodgers leading out west. National League East has 4 teams within striking distance. Womack shoots this one into right center field for a base hit. One out hit for Tony Womack brings in the Cardinal shortstop. Our Geico direct moment from Dusty Baker. Don't panic, folks. Chicago is 6 games back. Hey, man, we got time. I always thought that you don't have to make it up right away, all up right away. In my Dodgers days, it was a game a week. That's all we ask is to pick up a game a week. Dusty Baker, Chicago Sun-Times, the source, our Geico direct moment.
He's true. He's correct. You know, when you try to in 1 week pick up all the ground you missed, you know, you're just asking for disappointment.
Well, we have seen Edmonds steal and Sanders steal. You would figure with Tony Womack there with 1 out. Let's see if he's off. Now we have been told that Tony La Russa has been ejected from this game.
Well, that's why he was out there for extended period of time. I wondered when, you know, he kind of like the way he had his scorecard in his hand and some of his notes in hand, if he's ready to pass it off. And apparently Darryl Cousins ejected him for arguing balls and strikes, which you cannot do.
Pujols on deck. Renteria is already homered tonight. 0-1 pitch. Just missing outside.
I'm going to give you another analogy. You know, like a game a week. I had a manager one time say, you play 500 baseball and then you win every Sunday. 26 games over 500.
1 ball, 1 strike. Runner is going. Hit and run on. Perfect. Womack slid into second, but quickly up and on his way to third base. A 1 out hit for Edgar. He's 2 for 2. And in steps Albert Pujols. Good piece of hitting here by Renteria.
It looked like Tony was stealing, but Edgar saw a pitch that he could just slice into right field, because Womack, he never looks in. He's stealing all the way. Then he picked up the fly of the ball. He wasn't deked or anything. He was stealing, but he couldn't have gotten any further than third base anyway on that little quail to right. So a good scoring opportunity for Albert with 1 out.
Cardinals already with 5 hits against Maddox. Runners at first and third, just 1 out, and this is Pujols. Albert grounded to second his first time up, 0 for 1. Crowd comes alive a bit. I mean, this place is packed tonight.
Over 50,000 in attendance with a standing room only. Can be this way all 3 nights.
Albert into center. Patterson backs up, makes the play. Cardinals back on top. Pujols with the sacrifice fly. 58 RBIs on the year. And it's a 2-1 ball game. Cardinals have been aggressive in this game. A couple of stolen bases. One was caught stealing, but it was with Edmonds and Sanders. Then the hit and run with Renteria and Womack. That pays off as Pujols drives him in, and now it's Scott Rowland's turn. Pitch out and undoing. Maddox and Baco thinking along the same lines that we are. They see the first 3 innings, this team's awfully aggressive.
That's right. And Dave McKay, first base coach, got that stopwatch. Must indicate he's slow to the plate. Baco's timed from receiving the ball, throwing to second, has to fall in those parameters where with a decent lead and halfway decent speed, you'll be safe. And it's fun to watch, isn't it?
It is. I've got the feeling, though, that the Cardinals have done this from day number one, whether it be sacrificing or stealing bases more this year, putting pressure on the opponent. A lot of that has to do with Tony Womack.
Having that a true leadoff man that has the stealing abilities of a Womack helps out.
There goes Edgar. High throw, stolen base for Renteria.
Edgar's in double figures now.
You're right, this is fun.
Yeah, gets a good jump. You're off and running. He's not even looking in there. And you see the high throw, you can react to the fielder. And Baco, you know, you get to the point where all of a sudden as a catcher, you may change your pitch selection. You force things.
Scott Rowland a bit overwhelmed with the fact that the fans voted him #1 overall in the National League, as we saw in our interview. Such a soft-spoken guy. Doesn't like all the attention, but people around the league certainly have taken notice. Potential MVP in the National League. 2-2. Rowland strikes out. 2 strikeouts for Maddox, but the Cardinals regain the lead. Pujols the sacrifice fly to bring in Womack, and it's 2-1.
Back here, and let's take a look at Edgar Renteria in the first inning. The slide on your left shows you his home run pitch. It was a pitch that was up in the zone. He gets it out on the sweet part of the bat. The one in the third inning on your right was his base hit that he slices into right field. Hitting off the end of the bat, kind of went after a pitch that he saw was a breaking ball down and away and went that way with it. Part of our Bank of America higher standards. Edgar Renteria also stole the base, and he's 2 for 2 in the night.
Made a good play up the middle as well. This is Corey Patterson.
Might be an all-star, huh?
He is an all-star. 3 on the infield for the Cardinals. There's Patterson. Looks at a breaking ball low. Last time St. Louis had 3 infielders named to the all-star team was back in 1985. Jack Clark, Tommy Herr, Ozzie Smith.
Jack Clark was selected, not voted on, but all 3 of the Cardinals are fan favorites. Selected by the fans, and congratulations.
Patterson goes to the opposite field, pretty well hit. But back there to get it, John Mabry. The first 25,000 fans 16 and over with a paid admission receive a calendar featuring Cardinal players and pets courtesy of Pfizer. Each month highlights a different player hanging out with a furry friend. 421-3060 or stlcardinals.com for that ticket information. Barry Bonds will be in town July 25th at 1:15 here at Busch Stadium.
That's got to be Tony La Russa's favorite day.
You know that is for certain.
He has his ARF pet calendar.
He's got some big stars on there. McGuire and Michael Jordan. Guy named La Russa. This is Derek Lee, solo home run back in the second inning. 2-1 Cardinals here in the fourth. He rips a base hit. He's 2 for 2. Speaking of Bonds, how about that outfield starting for the National League? You've got Sammy Sosa, Ken Griffey Jr., and Barry Bonds, all members of the 500 home run club.
And close to 1,700 home runs.
And there'll be 4 active players with 500 homers competing in the home run hitting derby. Bonds, Sosa, Griffey, and also Palmeiro, Rafael Palmeiro. You love it when I do my research, and I've come up with a better outfield, if you're ready for this.
Okay.
I'll see if you agree if it's better or not. But it's baseball. We've got 3+ hours to fill, so we talk about a number of things. You ready?
Yeah.
How about Aaron, Mays, and Robinson back in 1957?
Better.
I'd say it's better too. looking back at some of the great names in the game of baseball, and that trio put together back in 1957.
But you know what? We probably get some arguments over a lot of people saying that this year's version is better.
Sure.
And that's what the beauty of baseball, and going back over the record books. Unless they're facing the same pitchers, playing against the same teams in competition, it's kind of hard to go era by era.
How about Aaron Mays Clemente in the 70s? Early 70s, of course, 1970. But the one we mentioned, 1957, but the eras have changed. You wonder what. And Al, I mean, let's take a look at it. Aaron Mays, Robinson, how many home runs would those guys wind up with playing in today's era? Scary. 2-1 pitch. Ground ball right side and a base hit. Lee will stop at second base, not challenge Reggie Sanders. A little surprised that we see Derek Lee standing at second base.
Now you're talking about an era where fundamentals were so important, and now you look at a guy that just they never rely on coaches. They all want to do it themselves. And of course, it's not so bad on that play, because Derek Lee could make that evaluation himself. But you're never going to be mistaken if you look at your coach. And even if you look at it initially, which is common sense, at some point the play's behind you. You got to look to your coach.
Double play, you bet. 4-6-3, and Marquis is out of this jam after back-to-back singles. Midway through the fourth.
We're gonna have a lot of fun. You can obviously play golf, but we also want to remember that we're going to have a great band. The fabulous Motown Review is going to be at the Ritz-Carlton on Sunday night, and there are tickets available just for the Sunday night event. So for more information, call Judy Eaglehoff at 314-770-1626.
Edmonds off the end of the bat, carrying into center. Out to Patterson, right in front of that Budweiser sign. Just missed it.
Boy, our guys in the truck will focus on that a little longer.
Go ahead, I'm hot. It's steamy up here.
I know. But Budweiser and Snooks and a bunch of other people are going to be some of our title sponsors for the Mad Hungarian Legends Classic. So Sunday, August 8th, Monday, August 9th. Preparing the gala party at the Ritz-Carlton on Sunday night, and Algonquin Golf Course on Monday.
Great Hall of Famers there. Bernie Federko, Brooks Robinson, Bob Gibson, Red Shandy's, Ferguson Jenkins, and Jackie Smith.
Hey, and I'll tell you what, Mudcat Grant, when he played, he had Mudcat and the Kittens, and I'm sure we could get him to get up and do a little singing with the Motown Review. Those guys are fantastic. They're obviously big baseball fans, and they're great. They'll be performing, but we'll have a lot of silent auction items and pairings party.
That will carry to Moises Alou for the second out.
I have to say something. We got the Hungo Award tonight too.
Candidates?
Oh man, I had a lot of people. Woody Williams was Marilyn Murphy's nomination. Roland Redford, Moberly, Missouri. He likes Jim Edmonds. So does Keeley from Springfield, Illinois, and Lindsay Ananora. So we'll have to wait and see who comes out. But
what about a first half Hungo winner?
Gosh, we'd have to do something really special.
This
chop
is
me up.
Reggie Sanders.
We could chop me up. You could have the left half for the first half and the right for the second half.
There you go. If you're just joining us, there is Woody Williams looking over those charts with Dave Duncan.
He's taking over the helm of the game.
We understand Tony La Russa has been ejected from this game. The 1-0 pitch in the dirt, 2-0. Sanders tonight has singled and stole a base back in the second inning. Cardinals lead it 2-1 here in the bottom of the fourth. All-star break after this weekend. Maddox stabs at it, makes the play. And the Cardinals go 1-2-3 in their half of the fourth. Maddox 4 away from 300. Ball moving all over the place. 2-1 Cards. Busch Stadium, gorgeous night for baseball. Glad you're with us here on Fox Sports Net. We're in the top of the 5th. This is Greg Maddux. Two former teammates hooking up tonight, Maddux and Marquis. And strike one. Marquis was able to get out of a little jam there in the 4th as he got Baco to hit into a double play. Cardinals lead it 2-1. Foul ball. 0-2 the count on Maddux, and we're back to the top of the order with Grudzielanek and Ray Ordonez.
Talking with Ron Santo, and one of the things that he was commenting on and paying tribute to the Cardinal starters is how when you get that solid performance from your starters, how that bullpen and everything else falls in place.
On 0-2, a ground ball hit to short. It must be painful for that man to be watching the Cardinals 6 games up, and you guys actually had a pleasant conversation else.
Oh, come on now. I'm his taxi cab driver. Whenever he's in town, I've got to pick him up, and I take him over to the hotel, and if it's a Cardinal victory, he said, now I'll go with you, but you can't say one thing about the game. And then as soon as I won't say a word. Pat Hughes will attest to this, and as soon as he gets in the car, he'll start complaining. My guys did this. My guys did that. They didn't get that base hit. Those relievers walked the ballpark.
One of the best things I get a chance to do is watch you talk with Santo. And then who trickles into the conversation? Shannon. And then Shannon comes in. Then we really get things going.
There's no lies told.
No. This is Grudzielanek. We're back to the top of the order. He was caught stealing after he singled in the 3rd. Kurt Schilling has taken himself off the All-Star roster with pain in his ankle, so he will not pitch next week at the All-Star game. He's 11-4. Lifted out to center. Edmonds. 2 down. How about some poker? Wednesday, Fox Sports Net is bringing you unprecedented live coverage of some of the world's top poker players competing for a $1 million prize. It's the American Poker Championship, live at 6 this Wednesday, only on FSN.
So you're talking about poker with Maddux. I knew there was some reason for that.
Are you a big cards player?
No.
On the plane, on the bus?
When I played, I was on the plane. Not proud, but threw them many times.
This is Ordonez. Chopped off the plate. And a foul ball.
The medication level wasn't found out yet.
Well, we're certainly glad that you have found that personal touch with that medication level. For everybody's sake.
A lot of fans in the stands.
That's bad. But you are correct. There are some fans in the stands. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Popped up out of play into the seats.
Donia is just kind of almost like his lower half is at one level and his upper half is reaching out. Just, proper balance is not in place.
On 1-2 up the middle, off the bag and into left center field. Ordonez will stop right there at first base and extends this inning now to Sammy Sosa. Some tough luck because it looked like Womack was at least going to be able to get a glove on it. Now whether or not he would have been able to throw him out is another story.
And tomahawk swing right back over the mound, and then it hits the bag and caroms high into left center. Jimmy hustling after that play, and you could see he told Mabry, I've got it and I'm watching the runner. If he tries to go to second, don't worry, I'll get him.
Here's Sammy Sosa with 2 outs. Flash bulbs popping. Ground ball. Womack. The easy flip to Renteria. And Sammy is 1 for 2 of the walk on the night. midway through 5, and the Cardinals lead it 2-1. Favor of the Cardinals as we move to the bottom of the 5th. Tonight's hot pitch of the game is brought to you by Hardy. Sammy Sosa at the plate, Allen. Marquis made quick work of it.
Yeah, look at the Molina set up away. And even though that ball stayed up there a little bit, that's not his good sinker. If that ball stayed up there a little bit, he still got him to hit down on it, get a ground ball, and get out of the inning.
This is Molina. Greg Maddux abused the outside corner his first time up when Molina was up, and we presume that's what got Tony La Russa ejected, arguing balls and strikes between innings.
See what happens. If you're Greg Maddux, you would think I'm going to go right back and do the same thing.
Yep, which he did on the previous pitch. They set up outside the 0-2. Molina shoots it into right. Good piece of hitting. Base hit and to the wall. He's on his way to second base. A double for Molina off of Maddux on 0-2.
You can also understand why Molina's looking for a ball out away from him, but you could also know that Greg Maddux doesn't have the command. He doesn't want a ball up here. And just kind of a hanging pitch up there, and Molina, give him credit, taking it the other way into the right field corner, gets by Sosa, and Molina not fleet of foot at all with a double.
Now you've got Marquis. Cardinals can do some things here, whether they want him to sacrifice or not. Marquis can handle the bat.
Yeah, you know, let him shoot through the vacated shortstop area. He's showing bunt.
Molina back to the bag. Whoa. That almost got into center field. Ordonez was blocked by the runner Molina.
But you know, Ordonez has those magical hands.
That's a great play.
And you're exactly right. It's a tough play. Molina has no foot speed at all. And there you see Ordonez, what we're talking about. Absolutely screened by Molina trying to get back. And as the last second, as he cleared, all of a sudden he kind of just threw the glove there and the ball ended up in it.
Ball gets away from Paco, and it's
Maddux is asking for the swing.
And it's not. They appeal down to third. 2 balls and no strikes.
I think the Cardinals catch a break right there.
Boy, me too. I thought he offered
He looked like he jabbed at it, but Eddie Montague, the crew chief and third base umpire, they asked for an appeal and he said no.
On 2-0, Marquis squares. Another throw down to second. 2 balls and 1 strike on Marquis.
Baco a little gun shy. I mean, he's had trouble receiving the last one. That time he just flung the ball towards second. Jason's a hitter, man. Got a 6-game hitting streak. He wants to swing away. I'd love to see him shoot one towards short.
All kinds of room there. The third baseman Martinez on the line pretty much. Foul ball.
See, that kind of bunt is going to get Molina thrown out at third. He's going to have to bunt it hard enough to get it by Maddux and make the third baseman come in and field the ball.
And what you're saying there is that Molina not that great foot speed. You really have to place that bunt in the right spot.
Yeah, and that's why he's trying to get as big a jump as he can out at second in that secondary lead, and they're trying to keep him close.
Doesn't do the job. Trying to help himself, and he can't.
And Marquis is much better than that.
Goes down in the book as a strikeout. 3 on the night now for Maddux. And we're back to the top of the order. Tony Womack has a single, a run scored. He's 1 for 2.
Well, we've seen Tony Womack, and I mentioned it last game that 23 RBIs, and just about every one of them have been pretty important. That's a big one out there now.
By the way, Kerry Wood will start on Sunday. We get word from Dusty Baker. So Wood is ready to go for Sunday against the Cardinals. His first start since May 11th.
How about that? Is either Wood or Pryor?
Yeah. Pick your poison.
Yeah.
Womack shoots it right side. Gobbled up there by Brudzelonic. By not getting that runner over, it could cost the Cardinals. Now 2 outs. Molina at third base.
Now, 2 out base hits are the name of the game, and here's one opportunity for Edgar, who's got a very nice night working. 2 for 2 with a home run.
The last game, Edgar Renteria, 4 balls, hard hit. Boy, he hit into some tough luck.
He had 4 rockets right up the middle and only 1 base hit.
2 for 2 tonight. Home run his first time up, singled, stole a base back in the 3rd. Cardinals have been out hit in this game 7-6, but lead it 2-1. Edgar's edging closer to 300. He's at 286. Into center field. Going back, Patterson. He'll make the play. Cardinals do not get that runner over from 2nd to 3rd, and it cost them. Maddox pitches out of a little jam. We move to the 6th, 2-1 in favor of St. Louis.
The National League will stand up for the people. Only the American League can make this country great again. You voted now. Meet your 2004 All-Stars.
The 2004 All-Star Game, live from Minute Park. Tuesday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on Fox.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
We talked about the grips of Greg Maddux. He goes from the change, and then you see him get the grip there. And Edgar lines out to center. Ball is moving like a wiffle ball when we talk about Greg Maddux. It is a hot night here in St. Louis. Game time temperature was 87 degrees. It's cooled off a bit, but it is muggy. It's steamy in here in downtown St. Louis. And the first batter that we will see is Moises Alou. Alou, Corey Patterson, and Derek Lee. Al, who did you bring in our booth?
Oh, I brought one of my good friends. All umpires are my friends, but Richie Garcia was one of the very best umpires in all of baseball, and now is one of the umpiring supervisors. Is that correct? Supervisor or supervisor?
It's supervisor. I'm sure to you sometimes it was supervisor, but
no.
Al and I go back a long ways. It's nice to see him smiling instead of having that grimace look on his face when he was on the mound.
2 balls and 1 strike on Moises Alou.
Hey, Richie, first of all, we want to talk to you a little bit about umpiring, and you know, it's such an integral part of the game, and the conscious effort that the umpires are making to get plays right. We all commend that.
Thank you. You know, we've made like you said, a real conscious effort this year, the last 4 or 5 years, to work on the positioning of the umpires, their hustle. As you can see in most of the games, these guys are working very, very hard. We have an umpire on the ball every time the ball's hit, which is, you know, I think very, very important. I think, you know, if you don't know where the ball is, there's not much you can do about it.
One of the biggest things going around baseball last year, and it's certainly still part of the game this year, as Alou draws a leadoff walk, is Questek, and a lot of people talking about that. Where do you stand with that?
Well, I think the Questek situation has really helped. I think right now the strike zone situation, where, you know, it's being as uniformed as it can possibly be. Right now we have 17 crews, and out of the 17 crews, we have 17 crews that have exceeded standards as far as the strike zone goes. So I think that's a big step from 2 years ago.
Patterson, a ground ball. Can they turn 2? Womack steps on the bag to first. Got him. Double play. You guys were all over that call there.
Yeah, that's a good call at first base.
Jerry Meals is at second base. Paul Schreiber is at first, and Montague is at third. Darryl Cousins behind the plate.
All right, Richie, describe it.
Well, technically, he was moving toward the shortstop side, but he didn't flip the ball, so he stayed right where he was, where he got a good look at the play at second. And now on this play at first, as you can see, he got him by a step, and Paul was all over it.
On a bang-bang play like that, I think it'd be interesting for fans to try to understand, from an umpire's perspective, what are you looking at first base? Are you trying to hear the ball hit the glove? Are you watching the bag? What are you looking at?
Well, you know, that's a good question, because we've had that conversation for years and years and years. You know, when I was umpiring, I try to get in a position where I can see the whole thing. I can see the glove, and I can see the runner hitting the base. I've talked to some of the umpires, some of the veteran umpires. For instance, Steve Palermo, who was a great umpire, and Steve tells me that, you know, when he had plays at first base, he'd focus on the bag. Obviously we have, you know, different ideas about what you do at first base. But I think you have to get distance. Distance is very, very important. You don't want that play busting up on you at the last minute. And being away from the base and making sure you can see the ball into that glove is important.
Scott Rowland over to first. Stay with us, will you, please?
Yeah, thank you.
You bet. This is Richie Garcia with us. Dan and Al with you as well. Double play. That's big behind Marquis, and it's 2-1 St. Louis or more on car insurance. The Cardinals have Albert Pujols, Scott Rowland, Jim Edmonds due up. They're half of the 6. It's 2-1 Redbirds. Richie Garcia, former Major League umpires in our booth. Dan McLaughlin, Al Hrabosky with you. I'm curious about trying to be behind the plate with Greg Maddux on the mound. We were talking about this earlier, how there's a couple of calls on a pitch similar to that, except up in the zone, where Maddux gets that call. Tom Glavine gets that call. Is it tough from your perspective to allow a guy like Maddux to get those calls?
Well, unfortunately, I never had the opportunity to work either Glavine or Maddux while I was working. But we have similar pitchers like that in the American League. Jamie Moyer, to name one. It becomes difficult if you let it get away from you. I kind of think what Tony was using a little bit of gamesmanship in this game. He didn't want. Obviously he thought the game was getting away from Darryl a little bit, and I got to think Tony came and mentioned something to him about it. Like I said earlier, it's difficult if you let them get away with it. You have to tell the catcher, get behind the plate, stay back here, because you're not going to get that pitch.
Rolling into deep left field. Get going. That ball is off the top of the wall or a home run. Which one is it?
Eddie Montague called home run.
Home run for Pujols. 3-1 St. Louis.
All right, Richie, here you go now. How tough is that on a line drive? It's very difficult to be hustling out there because your eyes are moving.
Well, the whole thing is, on a play like that, you have to get out as far as you can get. You got to stop, and you have to see the ball go out of the ballpark. You can't make that call on the run. You have to stop. You have to look at it so that your eyes aren't jumping around, just like an outfielder. Same thing. And like you said, it's difficult because that back wall is very close to the fence, and those things can happen just like it happened there. That ball hit and came right back into the playing area, and that's a very difficult call.
And tell from up here?
Could I tell? Absolutely not.
but you could tell.
Hey, I've been closer than that and missed them.
But you could tell you on the monitor they got it right.
They got it right. They got it right. And that's one of the big things that we're doing today. There's a lot of different situations that happen on the field today, and giving the umpires credit. They're getting together and they're getting the plays right.
Martinez long throw over the lead.
All right, I got a question for you. We've seen the home run like that, but sometimes, when we watch in a replay and you see a check swing, it always appears that the batter comes through or breaks his wrist. Tell us what your feelings are on a check swing.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. We had a big discussion this year about that. We're trying to get consistent on a half swing. We're trying to get everybody looking at the same thing, which is very difficult to do. Everybody, Steve Palermo and I got in a big argument this year doing our meetings on talking about half swings. My idea is, and what I teach, and I've taught all the young umpires that ever work with me, is to look at the barrel of the bat. That barrel, if this guy makes an attempt at the pitch and the barrel of the bat comes over the plate, you have to call that a swing. And that's a criteria that I use. I personally feel that if all the umpires use that criteria, I think we would become more consistent.
1-1 pitch. A little low and away to Jim Edmonds. From a fan's perspective, you spent your career in the American League. What style of baseball do you like?
I really like the National League style. I think we should do away with the DH. I think we should play baseball. The DH served its purpose.
Opposite field. Home run for Edmonds. Snuck over the wall. 4-1 St. Louis. 3 home runs off of Maddox. 2 in this inning. And a 4-1 Cardinal lead.
Richie Garcia, you saw Jim Edmonds a lot with the Angels, and that is what makes him extraordinary, is the power he has to the opposite field, the weight back. This is not a bad pitch, a breaking ball that most left-handers give up on. And yet Edmonds takes it to the opposite field with a controlled swing, line drive over the wall.
Yeah. You know, Al, when he was with the Angels, I'll let you describe this part. When he was with the Angels, of course, it was when he was early in his career, and he was more of a line drive hitter at the time. Yeah, he hit some home runs, and he did hit home runs to the opposite field, but I don't think it was till he came here to St. Louis that, he got a little stronger, and I think he started hitting, a few more home runs.
Toughest call for an umpire to make.
Wow, we got a bunch of them. I think the ball that's up and in on a hitter, describing whether the ball hit the bat or whether it hit his hand, I think that's very, very difficult for a plate umpire. Experience, you have to have experience. You have to read the hitter. It's about experience on that call. To me, I think that's the toughest. The half swing obviously is also a very difficult call to make for an umpire.
What was your strike zone? Knees to the
well,
letters?
I'd like to think that I was very consistent. I think the biggest compliment you can get is that that I was consistent. I've had guys like Paul Molitor, Robin Yount, say to me, hey, you know what, you're consistent, and that's all you can ask for. I don't think I was a pitcher's umpire. I don't think I was a hitter's umpire. I pretty much stayed within the strike zone.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Sanders strikes out. Richie, good seeing you. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Al, thank you.
Richie Garcia, 4-1 Cardinals.
You're watching Fox Sports Net.
Tonight's pitch-by-pitch feature brought to you by Chevrolet, Greg Maddox, and Albert Pujols.
Well, we know there's a breaking ball. He gets there. Then he goes on the other side, right down the middle, takes it, misses down and away again, and there's a hanger. Left that ball belt high, coming down right into the swing of Albert's, and just a line drive, a vicious one. His 22nd home run, his second RBI of the night, giving him 59, and the Cardinals were leading 4-1. Oh yeah, Jimmy hit a home run too.
And he's 2 for 3.
Could be getting the Hungo Award.
Are you telling me he's getting the Hungo?
I said he could be in the running. I mean, we got some competition. The way the starters been working, the way the offense, the bullpen been going.
Marquis back to work. 4-1 Cardinals. Our thanks to Richie Garcia.
You know what? The nicest thing I could say, and I hope the players today have relationships like we had with the umpires. They had a job to do. It's a tough job, but we had great respect for them.
I asked him what kind of umpire he was as far as strike zone. I'll ask you from a pitcher's perspective. Did you like it?
Well, you know what? I think, as he said, he was very fair.
Consistent.
There are certain guys that you knew that any borderline pitcher was going to go the pitcher's way. Others that, you had to narrow it in. It was going to be a hitter's strike zone. But in my recollection is he was a good and fair umpire.
Hot shot, Renteria, one hopper, settles, long throw, you bet. 2 down.
Hey, if you got a birthday today and you're 49, and if you got a sister named Tony Wilburn, or maybe it's Tom Wilburn, Tony or Tom, I can't read this writing. Well, anyway, happy birthday to Susan Open. Happy birthday, Susan.
What's on tap brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold fresh Budweiser. It's game time tomorrow with Joe Buck, Tim McCarver. It will be the Cubs and Cardinals. And then Tuesday night, don't forget the All-Star game on Fox. We'll come back on Fox Sports Net Thursday night from Cincinnati. Second half of the season.
Pinch hitting for Maddox here with Goodwin. No 297 for him as Lester will take over for the Cubbies.
6 innings, 4 runs allowed for Maddox, 8 hits. Allowed 3 home runs, struck out 4. And no walks. 2 outs, nobody on. This is the speedster, Tom Goodwin. 1-0 pitch. Lined into center. Edmonds. Yes. Cubs go 1-2-3. Time to stretch. Marquee on a roll. 4-1 Cards. Hyundai's prize winner in the Hyundai long drive inning sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run here in the 7th, Kristen qualifies for the Hyundai Santa Fe drawing in September. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Call to the bullpen brought to you by the Renaissance Grand Hotel, and John Lester, record of 2-0, will take over for the Cubbies.
Saw him make his major league debut against the Cardinals. And remember Jim Edmonds' home run out on the street in Chicago. But he's another hard thrower. Good fastball, good slider. He's also in that game where Pryor knocked down Taguchi, and then Lester kind of knocked down Jim Edmonds, got up and hit the home run. I don't think it was intentional, but that was in his debut, and he was a little excited.
It's a 2 home run day for Edmonds. Yadier Molina, 4-1 Cardinals, bottom of the 7th. Greg Maddux threw 86 pitches. Marquee has thrown 90 so far. Lester, we saw in that game against the Cardinals, could get it up there a little bit. Threw pretty hard.
Yeah, they've got a whole host of guys in their minor league system that are mid-90s.
1 ball, 1 strike. Strikeout of Molina, caught looking his first time up, and it was a double in the 5th for Molina. Popped up, shallow right field, may get down, and it's a hit. Molina thought about 2, but he'll stop right there at first base. Leadoff base hit for Molina. 2-hit night for Yadier.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And Molina has luck on his side with this little floater right out there beyond Grizzlonic in front of Patterson. And I guess the way things are going for them, they're lucky that there's no collision. And Patterson hurdles over Grizzlonic to avoid contact. 6-game hitting streak on the line. Come on, Jason.
Molina. Oh, my goodness. Hit and run, bunt and run, run and hit, delayed steal, whatever it was, but Molina is caught. He wasn't even halfway towards second base. All right, what happened, Al?
Somebody forgot that Molina has no speed. He breaks.
Let's be aggressive, but boy.
And almost a semi-pitch out there. High throw, but as you said, he stopped when he was about 40% there. He tries to stay in the rundown, but no chance. That one surprised me. The element of surprise, you know.
Got a 2 balls, 1 strike on Marquee. 2-2. We've got Tony Womack on deck. Cardinals leading 4-1. 3 home runs for the Cardinals tonight. Nice play made by a fan, left side. A souvenir, 50,000 plus tonight. Chased the ball on a 2-2 pitch and a strikeout. First for Lester. You missed it on the pregame show, Al. We had Leanne Tweet The Best Damn Sports Show correspondent in town here at Busch Stadium, interviewed Cardinal center fielder Jim Edmonds. That's coming up tonight. Also, Jay Moore sounds off. Jay Moore, hilarious. And that is tonight at 11 o'clock, the Best Damn Sports Show, period.
And still in attendance here.
She threw out the first pitch.
She threw it. Debatable whether it was a pitch. She's quite a sports fan.
Yes, she is.
Redskins fan.
That first pitch, that ceremonial first pitch, you're right, Al. We talked about that with Leanne. She thought throwing might have been her best suit in the game of baseball, and it certainly was not.
I'll let you decide.
Here it is, Leanne Tweeden.
Just a little bit short.
Josh Beckett could help her. Popped up left side. Play like that Billy Miller got hurt here at Busch Stadium a couple years ago. And anytime there's a pop-up left side, you think Mr. Barkley when the Cubs are in town or at Wrigley Field. I like how the Cub fans do it now. They just all back up, hands in the air, avoid that seat, get out of the way. They want no part of it.
Oh.
2-2 is the count. Tony Womack. Full count on Tony Womack. A win tonight, the Cardinals would move 7 games in front of Chicago and 21 games above the 500 mark. Still a long way to go as we play here in the bottom of the 7th. Seven games out, the Cubs could be. 3-2 pitch. Womack into deep right field. Sosa looking up. Goodbye. Another home run for the Cardinals. 4 on the night. Tony Womack has 4 on the year. And the Cardinals lead it by 4. It's 5-1.
I'll be picking up Sano and won't be able to say a word. I'll just be listening. And the first thing is you're going to say, Tony Womack. And I'll say, yep, 4 times did Tony clear the boards. 24th RBI. 4 home runs on the night for the Redbirds. That gives them 106. Cubbies still have 108.
2 runs scored tonight for Tony Womack.
You know what? That's a magic number for Tony Womack and the Cardinals. The Cardinals currently are 8-0 when he scores 2 runs or more. Could be 9-0. And we have a winner.
Who would have thought Tony Womack would help out Kristen Williams?
Kristen Williams is very thankful. She had all the faith in the world in Womack.
Kristen, you qualify for the Hyundai Santa Fe drawing in September. And if you'd like to join Kristen, you register at a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. 2-2 the count on Renteria. He is homer tonight. Got the Cardinals on the board all the way back in the first inning. Cardinals lead it 5-1. They've out hit the Cubbies 10-7. 2-2 pitch.
Things are tightening up in the pennant races too.
Al, I know psychologically that you say you take it game by game, but you've just lost 3 straight to Milwaukee. If you're the Cubs, you come in here, you're down 5-1. It's got to play on your mind a little bit. Still a long way to go, but these Cardinals trying to run away with this division.
No doubt about it, but Dusty's been through this a long time, and he'll get his troops back in gear. And Dusty said this to me, and it's very true. Streaks follow streaks.
Yep. Ground ball hit to short. Cardinals are done. Renteria retired. He's 2 for 4 on the night. Tony Womack goes deep. 4 Cardinal home runs tonight. Tony with number 4 on the year. Cardinals lead it 5-1. Expedition now with up to $5,000 cash back or 0% APR for 60 months plus 100 gallons of gas. Take the whole team to the game only at your Quality Ford stores. Your home run to Cardinal baseball fun. Glad you could join us tonight. Cardinals lead it 5-1 over the Cubs. Tony La Russa has been ejected in this game for arguing balls and strikes early on. And this is Grudzielanek. Pitch number 91 from Marquis. Cardinals knocked out Greg Maddux. It'll be Grudzielanek, Ray Ordonez, and then Sammy Sosa. Strike one, 1 ball, 1 strike. Grudzielanek tonight has grounded to third. Single, then caught stealing in the third. Grounded to third in the first. And fly to center. Back to Marquis. First man retired. 1 out. All fans 15 and under with a paid admission receive a fishing lure featuring Cardinals catcher Mike Matheny's autograph stamped on it. Compliments of the Bass Pro Shop. For tickets or information, call 421-3060 or log on to stlcardinals.com. That will be Tuesday, August 3rd, the Expos. Montreal Expos. Could be your final look at Montreal.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, big hello to a great Cardinal fan down in Buffalo, Missouri, Loretta Abbott. How you doing, Loretta?
Now, I think you'd have to say now, in retrospect, it's still half a season to go, a little under half a season, that Marquis, King, Wainwright for Drew and Marrero, for the most part, has been a win-win on both sides.
Oh,
and if you haven't looked, J.D. Drew is having a great year.
And if you haven't looked to Eli Marrero, he's starting to pick up the pace. He's batting .321.
Right.
Got 5 home runs, 10 RBIs. He's had some injuries. J.D., they want to sign him long-term. But Walt Jocketty had to get some pitching, and Joey wasn't quite ready yet, so he had to go out and get some for the future with Wainwright. You got 2 current guys that are competing and doing very well.
Long throw for Edgar. Got him. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cardinals LLC and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinal Baseball, a production of Bud Sports and an exclusive presentation of Fox Sports Net. You bring up the name of Walt Jocketty. A lot of people thought, what is he doing with some of these trades? And who are these guys? Can Chris Carpenter come back? And he has been right, along with Tony La Russa, on all accounts.
Well, I think a lot of people ought to say, Walt Jocketty has a pretty good track record as general manager, and nobody's hired you.
Ground ball up the middle, base hit.
Not you,
Marquis.
Not you specifically,
right.
But those the fans. Just like
I know you heard
no one's ever asked me to manage, and Tony's going to go in the Hall of Fame in that department. Some of the experts know what they're talking about.
You do your radio show. I talk to people around town. They said, you know, what's this team going to be like? These are guys that they're counting so much on that may not come through, but there's one of them right there, Ray King. Chris Carpenter, probably the biggest of those stories.
Well, but you know, I mean, Terry Robinson told me last year when he faced him in a rehab, you know, in a simulated game, he said Chris Carpenter had the best stuff he saw last year. And that's when he was hurt.
We were down in Florida. He threw on the side, and Tony La Russa came away and said it was an eye-popping performance.
Remember that in Florida?
Yeah,
you know?
I do.
And then he tried too much too soon, and then he had to have another simple cleanup procedure. But you could tell in Florida, and we both said it, this team was better than people were giving it credit for.
Rolling right there. Force play at second. Good work by Marquis. What a job he has done tonight once again. Cardinals lead it 5-1, bottom of the 8th coming up. Welcome back to Cardinals baseball. Albert Pujols to lead things off. 5-1 Cardinals here in the 8th. Albert, a home run off of Greg Maddux his last time up. 2 RBIs on the night. 59 on the year. John Lester, his second inning of work. Pujols went around. 0-2. We have not given kudos and given the respect that we need to for Albert Pujols and the job that he and his family did with the golf tournament yesterday to benefit Down syndrome. Raised over $100,000.
Absolutely. You and I both were there. Joe Buck was there, along with a whole bunch of ex-Cardinal players, Rams players, Blues players, and a lot of current guys.
Just a great time out at Forest Hills. They put on a first-class event, so congratulations to Dee Dee and Albert and their fine family. What a job. A ball and 2 strikes on Albert Pujols. High fly ball right field. Sosa in front of the track. 1 out. Speaking of Pujols and Sosa, you'll see those two on Tuesday night. Baseball's best converge onto Houston for one spectacular night for the 75th All-Star Game. Don't miss the biggest names in the game battle for their league's right to win home field advantage for this year's World Series. The 2004 Major League Baseball All-Star Game from Minute Maid Park in Houston. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, host of others, and it's only on Fox.
How about you're talking about Sosa? You know, going to be there. Albert going to be there, rolling. But thank you to Sammy Sosa, King Griffey Jr., Scott Rowland, Albert Pujols, and all these guys giving me bats, autographed bats for the golf tournament.
Oh, great. Sosa too, huh?
Yep.
Very good. A 1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, nobody on here in the 8th. Edmonds on deck. He is homered. Roland's been rather quiet tonight. Lied to center, struck out, grounded out to third. Greg Maddux will not pick up win number 297 tonight.
Scott Rowland's got a 9-game hitting streak on the line. Not anymore.
That'll shoot the gap near the Cardinal bullpen. Rolling on his way to second base.
10 game
double.
10-game hitting streak. You just look at him standing right there, hands back, throw a strike, and just, you know, like just a nice easy golf swing. Doesn't swing overly hard, just tries to center the ball, make contact, let the hands and bat do the work.
That's going to be it for John Lester. Tell you about Boston over Texas 7-0. Anaheim beat Toronto 5-0. Pittsburgh trounced Montreal 11-0. Kent Mercker will face the left-hander Jim Edmonds, and then John Mabry on deck. So the lefty coming up. 5 Kent Mercker. Our call to the bullpen brought to you by the Renaissance Grand Hotel. Signed with the Cubs as a free agent middle of December. Split the season last year between Cincinnati and Atlanta, and he was terrific last year. Not bad this year with a 2.49 ERA. Last season it was 1.95. Kent Mercker has found a home in the bullpen with the Chicago Cubs, and he'll face Jim Edmonds, first man.
Left-handed specialist, so he will get Edmonds, and then if Mabry stays up there, he'll get his shot at him. Kent Mercker, and a good performer. You know, he threw a no-hitter early in his career with the Atlanta Braves, and been a very good situational lefty.
There goes the runner. Throw to third. Safe at third. How do you like that? Scott Rowland. And a 5-1 game. Rowland taken off for third base on the first pitch by Mercker.
A very good throw right there, and Ed Montague, the third base umpire, didn't look like he was in position to call it. He's trying to get around, but I thought the throw was right there, and Rowland slid into it. The reason they stole in that situation is they had the third baseman so far off the line, just giving him the bag, and you know, that's a 4-1 lead. That's, you know, a grand slam can tie it right now.
Sure.
So you play for more.
Edmonds fouls it back. Edmonds with an opposite field home run tonight. Scott Rowland swipes it back. He can do that.
See if you think he's out here. The throw's right on the bag.
Ooh.
Well, he might have missed the tag, but the throw and was there, and his arms may have gone to the bag where the glove was in the middle.
Great camera work by our Bud Sports crew. Edmonds just swinging a miss. Tom Meade, Lindsey Polite, Doug Stanton, Mike Helling, Brian McCann, our Bud Sports crew. The best in the business here in St. Louis.
There are 2 strikes or 2 outs. All right, 3 out. He struck out Edmonds. Well, Jimmy just walked away on strike 2.
Doesn't matter. Mabry delivers. A 2-out hit for John Mabry. I thought there was only 2 strikes on Edmonds.
I
the
did
truck
too.
did too.
Well, we were watching that replay. Maybe we missed something, but Edmonds didn't want any part of Merker. Scott Rowland comes home on Mabry. Just pitched this out over the middle of the plate, and just a nice swing. The ball got up a little bit, and look at there. Mabry delivers him. He's hit 260 off of left-handers and come up with a key hit there.
20th RBI. This is Reggie Sanders. 1 for 3 tonight for Reggie. And it's 6-1 Cardinals. You're wondering about Milwaukee and Cincinnati. The Reds on top of the 7th, 3-0. And Houston at Los Angeles later tonight.
There's Marquis.
101 pitches thrown by Marquis tonight. We did see Ray King up and throwing in the bullpen, but he is sat down.
Yeah, and Tavares got up a little bit, but we'll see if Marquis finishes it.
Be shocked if he wouldn't. Agreed?
You could go either way. I mean, if you turn it over with the off day yesterday and you got some guys down there itching to throw, it's not a save situation. If it was an automatic save situation, he wouldn't finish it, but he may get the chance. But it wouldn't surprise me either if you go to the bullpen for the final inning.
So you have the All-Star break right around the corner.
Problem is our starters have been so good that you almost could see that those guys down in the bullpen need a little bit of work, especially with the All-Star break coming around the corner.
1-1 pitch to Reggie. Up and away. Cubs will have Corey Patterson, Derek Lee, and Ramon Martinez in the ninth. Cardinal relievers. This is what you're talking about. The Bank of America higher standard. Last 25 innings, a .72 ERA.
But most of the time they're only getting 1 or 2 innings a game.
Now that's one of the reasons that this team has had the come from behind victories that they've had, because if a starter gets knocked out, which hasn't happened very often as you talk about, but that bullpen keeps the team in the game, and they've got one of the best offenses in the league.
2 lefties have been a big key component. 2 guys available, at least one of them, if not both of them, every day.
Change up by Merker. Good pitch. Sanders out in front, 2-2.
And they're only available every day because you have to just, you can use them for an out or 2.
Not a day goes by that folks around Busch Stadium and the Cardinals don't think about DK. 2-2 pitch coming to Reggie Sanders. Full count, so now Mabry, the runner at first, off with the next pitch with 2 down here at the bottom of the 8th. Cardinals up by 5 runs. Chance of Reggie here at the ballpark. He walked him. Brings in Molina with 2 down. Cardinal fans, do you know how easy it is to dress like your favorite player? Well, just go to STLCardinals.com. You click on Shop for Everything for player jerseys. So t-shirts and caps. Look like the pros at STLCardinals.com. Shop for all your Cardinal merchandise. Dusty Baker will make another move. Merker is done. 6-1. Brought to you by the St. Louis Renaissance Grand Hotel. Michael Wirtz will take over for the Chicago Cubs. Actually made the opening day roster for the first time for Chicago, but did not fare well. This will be his 20th appearance. He was sent back down to AAA Iowa. And prior to that, he had appeared in 10 games now with an ERA over 10, but they feel he has settled down now, and they like his stuff.
Non-roster invitee. He was both a starter and reliever last year at AAA. And he's been around a while. He's logged 150 innings 4 times in his career, and getting that first shot at the big league level.
Yadier Molina is 2 for 3. Home run has been in demand for the Cardinals tonight with 4 this evening. Good pitch to Molina, strike 1. 2 outs, 2 runners on at first and second. That's Mabry, who picked up the RBI single. And also Reggie Sanders, who just walked, knocked Merker out of the game. Wirtz is the fourth pitcher used by the Cubs. Foul ball, fouled straight back. 0-2 is the count. Home runs tonight. We start back in the first inning, and this was Edgar Renteria. Then 2 home runs in the 6th. One by Pujols, a bullet. The other opposite field by Edmonds. Then it's Tony Womack down the right field line. 4 home runs tonight for St. Louis.
Works through that last pitch with shortstop standing on second base.
Ground ball left side, slow roller. Let's go to the 9th. Jason Marquis left on deck, trying to close this one out. 6-1 over in left field for the Cardinals. John Mabry will move from left to right. And still in this ball game is Jason Marquis. He has pitched a whale of a ball game tonight. 8 hits allowed. Cardinals leading by the score of 6-1, and a chance, if they can hold on tonight, Al. If they hold on tonight, they'll go up 7 games in front of Chicago. And depending on how Milwaukee or Cincinnati shakes out, they'll be 8.5 up on one of those teams. Could be 10.5 in front of Houston before the night is done.
If you win your game, no one can catch you.
Question was, will Tony, that coaching staff, let Marquis pitch in the 9th? The answer is yes. Cardinals do have a right-hander throwing in the bullpen.
Jason Marquis does not have a complete game in his big league career.
Two and 0. That's a strike to Patterson, over 3 in the ball game tonight. So no complete games, for Marquis.
No.
And only 1 this season for the Cardinals. Matty Moe up the middle for a base hit. 9th hit for Chicago this evening. If you think about Saturday and Sunday, in particular Sunday, with a bunch of rest coming up, you won't play until Thursday. Are you a proponent of seeing some starters possibly come into a tight game or a tight situation late in a game?
No, I am not. And I've seen a lot of starters pick up a loss on Sunday in relief because they come to the ballpark never thinking about pitching, and all of a sudden they find themselves in a close game. So no complete game tonight, but a great effort by Jason Marquis. And wait till you hear this hand.
Marquis 8+ innings tonight, came into the ball game this evening with an ERA of 4.10. That's on the decline as Julian Tabarez will take over for the Cardinals, as the Cardinals looking to continue this home dominance they have had as of late. This will be his 41st appearance. Got off to just a terrible start. You and I noted the body language that Tabarez had in the first couple of road trips. Well, different story. He's been lights out.
Lights out. He's been a delight in the clubhouse, and just his mannerisms, the way he takes the ball and the way he approaches the game. He's in command, and if he does his job against the Cubbies in his final inning, the Cardinals will have their 3rd 9-game winner.
This is Derek Lee. Hit his 12th home run earlier tonight, the lone Chicago run. Line drive and a foul ball. Just foul.
We saw Derek Lee heated up in June. You know, we saw line drives going all over the place, so it was hard to imagine that he was slumping, and you see how close it was, but truly foul.
Nothing and 1 to count on Lee. Line drive taken there by Renteria. They'll get the lead runner. Good play on a hot shot to the Cardinals shortstop, and that's out number 1.
Momentum is carrying Renteria towards left field, and so takes him a couple steps to recover, throw back to Womack. He felt the presence of Patterson, or at least felt he'd be closer on him and wanted to get away from the bag. I think you're only going to get 1 on that one anyway, so why not keep yourself safe?
Ramon Martinez. And a strike from Tavares.
The Cardinals are feeling very good about themselves. They're in line for their 7th consecutive victory. They're playing very well. And then on the other side, when the team is struggling and the Cubs are about ready to lose their 4th game, you know, it's natural you get down, but it's a temporary thing.
0-1 pitch. Pujols has got it, and the Cardinals pick up a double play and a victory in game number 1. Edgar and Tony and Sotaguchi having some fun tonight. 50,000 had fun. It's our Bud Light play of the game. Fresh, smooth reel. It's all here early on. The Cardinals, by the way, pick up 4 home runs. Renteria goes deep all the way back in the first, and the Cardinals roll to the victory 6-1. Marquis is now 9-4, and Greg Maddux drops to 500. He is 7-7. Lots more to come. A one-on-one with Scott Rowland. Hungo Award, our analysis tomorrow at noon. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver with the call in game number 2. What a victory. Midwest Sports Report coming up.